Hello, everyone. Karen Glasser here, and welcome to Karen Glasser Live. If you're here live or you're here on replay, it doesn't matter. We love you. Say hi in the comments. Let us know where you are watching from. Today, we are talking with the head of growth, partnerships, and community at Castmagic, Greg Wasserman. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Hey, always great to spend some time with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, I am thrilled that you're here today. We are pretty new in the friendship arena, and I just love what you do. You are all about relationships. You're all about creating those connections that help people move further in their lives, their careers, everything. And I like that about you. But let's take you all the way back to Chicago, where you grew up.
Yeah.
It's cold there right now, right?
Yeah.
Really cold. What was Chicago like? And how did you move from Chicago to where you are now in California?
I mean, that's the answer. It was cold. uh, um, I wanted all warm weather schools. Well, I'm a January baby. I just enjoyed the summer. So when mom and dad said you can go basically anywhere, I'm like, all right, I'm applying to warm weather schools, and basically looked in on the down and ended up in LA and haven't left here for 20 plus years.
And the rest is history, as they say. As a matter of fact, you got your marketing and business degree from USC. What was that like? USC
Right
is,
on.
yeah, right on. It's a great school. Why did you pick there? I'm just curious.
Um, I guess the it's funny. Like as a male growing up in the 80s and 90s, you choose your sports based on who's doing well, right? And so as a sports household, and so it was like, all right, you had like the Miamis, you had UCLA, you had Florida State, and like they were all warm weather schools as well. But it was like, all right, so I was actually a UCLA fan for most of my life. Yeah, go figure. And then when I started applying to all schools, it was like USC just spoke to me. It was semesters versus quarters. My brother went to Tulane, and so I got in there. And so it came down to, do I want the U, Miami? Do I want Tulane or want USC? And I'm an LA kid, and my brother was always getting recruited for Southern companies. And it's just not something I wanted to stay in
Yeah.
the South. I didn't fall in love with Coral Gables, and so I ended up at SC, and it was just a great experience.
It's a great school. I mean, let's be real. They have a great alumni program. So, you're fortunate to go there. You're fortunate to graduate. You do have some resources there as well. So it's a great place to go. Now you've done a lot of different things. You went from advertising and sales to working for startups. And I just have one question for you. Why? Why do you want to work for startups?
um, I mean, I started my career technically right out of college in retail. I worked for Robinsons, Meyer and Frank, which got acquired the day I started by Macy's.
Right.
10 months later, we all got laid off because Macy's took on over, and
Right.
now that's where the department world lives. I hated the job. It was not for me. So I ended up working at Yahoo right after that, and I loved it. Working for a tech company.
Mhm.
You could say all the things of what Yahoo's progression of their career or their company's history has taken them over the years, but I had a great time. Moved quickly up in the sales ranks and managed and so forth. I got to a point where it's like I was either it was either continue doing what I wasn't enjoying at that moment or move. And so I moved to another company, and that just didn't work out. It was naive on my standpoint of like, wow, this sounds like amazing compared to what I came from. And yeah, it was just not a good fit. So it was a great learning experience. Then you start getting a little jaded in your career, going like, oh, I should ask these questions or I should start learning. And then I had a couple former coworkers from Yahoo that were at a startup. Like, Greg, this is a great company. Hesitation, of course, based on just where I just came from being burned, and I joined it. And what I can say about that is, to answer your question, like startups are fun because you get to wear multiple hats.
Mhm.
It's usually a family environment, community.
Mhm.
Yahoo is great, like we're able to do that, but like thousands of people. Like our
Right.
office was the second
Right.
largest office in the U.S. I think third worldwide at the time. 2,000 people in an office space. Like, how do you get to know anyone? Which also fueled what I was successful at. Going back to your relationship things, like I am a silo breaker. And so
Mhm.
what I loved about being at Yahoo was like, hold on, if this is my department, we need to work with all these other people.
Right.
Or if I was managing a team and others around us were hearing what was going on, I'm like, great, like what do you guys do? And so it was always just trying to bridge that gap. So the nice thing
Right.
about being at a startup, like while every company has silos, there's fewer silos that you have to break down because it's a smaller company.
And those are all really really good points, and to go back to your whole the thing that we're talking about, and that's relationships, because you're the relationship guy. I mean, you are all about, and you talk about building meaningful connections. In fact, if you go to your LinkedIn profile, it literally says time and relationship consulting. That's what you say. So what is so important about time and relationship? And I ask that because I actually know the answer. I am a time and relationship gal. But why don't you tell everyone why this is so important?
It's do you have a crystal ball? No, no one has a crystal ball.
No.
So as humans, we need connection.
Hmm.
And if I don't know where that connection is going to take me, then let's go ahead and enjoy this opportunity for a connection now, not knowing where it takes me then. So if your mindset, my background is sales, right? So if I'm thinking, can I sell to you now? I can't. Then great, I'm moving on. Like that just seems so inauthentic. That just seems like, hold on, just because you can't sell to this person doesn't mean that they can't help you, you can't help them, you can't support each other, that this relationship doesn't go in the future. And so
Right.
ever since I was a little kid, I was the friends with everyone. My best friend would always say, like, Greg wants to walk down the hallway and just know everyone. And it's like, yeah, but like, why do I
Mhm.
have to
Yeah.
pigeon myself to
Right.
my group of jocks or my group of nerds or my group of goths or whatever group you want to be in? I'm like, no, like they're people, they're humans, it's connection. We can find something that's meaningful. So that
I,
is why I do that.
Yeah, and you just never know how our paths are going to cross. And as a matter of fact, we met through a company that you are now with, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But what really attracted me to you as an individual is your ability to connect. Now, you made a, and I'm going to talk about something very personal. You made a recommendation for me. You introduced me to someone. So Greg, one of the things that we talk about all the time is relationship marketing. And for you, that is what it's all about. It's what it's all about for me. Let's talk about why that's important and how you connect people.
Um, yeah, it goes uh, back to your original question about why I decided to call my consulting firm "Life is about time" or "Time and Relationships Consulting," because I believe life is about time and relationships. You don't know where a conversation today will lead in the future. So, if I can talk to you and go, all right, I understand a little bit about you, understand what you're trying to achieve, or maybe your pain points, like it's very much in sales methodology in that regards, like, oh, understand the person's pain points, like how do I solve that? If I can't be the solution for it, how do I connect you with someone who can? It's also good people should meet good people. Like, why
Right.
do I have to hoard good people? There's a value to that. Like, how do you end up getting paid for the consultations that you do in consulting and so forth? Like that goes a long way. But for me, yeah, if I meet someone and I think you would help meet someone, like
Yeah.
let's put the people together. And that's literally what I did with you. What was it, last week?
Yeah. Just last week. So, what do you tell people that say, well, I don't want to do that? I don't want to give people stuff. I want them to pay me for everything. Right. I mean, that is the challenge. And
That
you
it,
touched on
yeah,
it.
yeah. I probably could do a better job in that regards. There's some people who do it really well. I haven't figured that piece out yet. So I think I know there's work that I could do in terms of that, but I think it's also the mindset I take is very much like karma, right? So if I make the
Agreed.
introduction, then it will come back to me and going like, A, they remember me. B, I think as you originally were asking or making the comment about the introduction, people are like, Karen meet Greg, Greg meet Karen. You guys should talk, and you're like,
Why?
what am I talking about? Why? And so my introductions, it goes back to a mindset like when I transitioned from direct sales and media sales into partnerships,
Hmm.
partnerships is all about how do you help people? How do you connect people? How do you refer with people? Create referrals. And so, how do I add value, but create that initial trust to someone through myself? And if I just said, Karen, meet Greg, Greg, meet Karen, that doesn't help
Doesn't
anyone.
help anyone.
And then there's no direction going in there. So if I actually spend the time in writing an email, yes, it's time for a conversation, time for the email,
Right.
but you hopefully, if I'm making that, then hopefully that comes back and the person on the
Right.
other side understands that.
Right.
And sometimes they'll get burned and sometimes they'll be like, great. And then the person will then talk to Karen and go like, "Hey, I'm just trying to sell you," and go, and you'll go back to me and go, "Greg, like that was a terrible, great introduction, terrible person, or whatever it is." I'm like,
Right.
"Whoa, how did that go south as bad as it shouldn't have?" Because I thought I teed it up, right?
My guess is that that doesn't happen very often, though. My guess
Yeah.
is you don't get because you get to know the individuals that you are introducing to one another. And you are right; it is like karma because at the end of the day, I get to know you better as a connector and I get to know your skill set better as a connector, which when things will cross my plate or my mind, or I'm in a conversation and I need Greg, I know you at this point. And I think that that is something that we show up with service, right? We are going to show up in service first. And I hear that a lot. I'm not sure that everyone knows what that means. It means that we show up first and how can we help? And then from that, everything else comes. Would you agree?
Uh, the way I look at it, I like show up with service is give to get, right? And so if I keep giving and I keep giving, the get will come back. And
Right.
so if you think about that way, then like great. The other side is also I want to be known as that guy.
Right.
Either I have the answer or I know someone that does. And so that's a great feeling when someone reaches out to you 2 years later and going,
Right.
"Hey, Greg, I am looking for X." I'm like, we haven't talked in 2 years, but you still remember that I probably am a connector, that I probably have someone in my network that can help you. Back
Right.
to your question, how do I make money off of that connection? All it is being known that it's like, oh wow, Greg can get a solution done. He can figure this out, and I
Right.
love that feeling.
Right. And then we move fast forward into what you're doing right now, and that is with Castmagic. You are their community manager. You are their partnership guy. You are their growth guy, and in fact, you don't take that lightly. You and I've never seen this before. Again, and I'm in this world. You literally have us all gather with you from this particular company called Castmagic. Anyone who wants to avail themselves to getting to know you, getting to know the CEO, the co-founder, and you open that opportunity for so many people that we don't have that opportunity normally. And so I thank you for that because what you have allowed us to do is to create our own community and create our own relationships. So let's talk a little bit about Castmagic. Castmagic is an artificial intelligence platform. What does artificial? I'm going to ask you because you can give maybe a different answer. I mean, I love artificial intelligence. I'm probably one of a few. I don't know. What is artificial intelligence?
I don't know. The hard question, AI. Look, it's what Cast Magic is doing is taking your spoken word, your video, and ultimately giving you a platform to repurpose it. Um, so language models, it's like, all right, how do I take this recording that we've got here, put into a language model that will translate it, understand what's being said, and then how do we then create prompts that will pull out the insights from that conversation, whether it is what does Greg say about relationships, instead of you writing it down, it's able to pull that
Right.
automatically.
And what's so great about this? It's one of very few programs. I mean, there's a lot of AI programs out there. Let's be real. There, we've heard the term Chat GPT. That people, go and you give something that's known as a prompt. You tell it what you want. Please give me X, Y, and Z. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't because it doesn't know your voice. It doesn't know who you are, how you talk, and do things like that. So, for instance, in this case, that's why I like Castmagic because it takes the power of ChatGPT and it combines it with our voice. So, we're doing a show right now, but before we did this show, I literally went into Castmagic and said, I'm going to be talking to Greg about this, and this. And please give me some um, uh, a show copy. Please give me a way to promote this. Give me some SEO, search engine optimization, keywords, things like that. And guess what? It does stuff just like that, which is very, very powerful. You're able to take your thoughts, right? One of the things that Castmagic does. Let's talk about the app, the the
iOS
iOS
app.
app, which is freaking cool. What does that do?
Um, I'm an external processor. So for me, if you asked me preparation for this, going like, all right, what am I going to talk about with Greg? And I'm going to list my thoughts and so forth and speak it into the app. And then it's going to load it into your desktop tool and
Right.
give you questions, give you a LinkedIn post. So like my LinkedIn content, like I live on LinkedIn and I have ideas and I'm like, if you wanted me to write a LinkedIn post, if you wanted me to write a blog post, like I can't do it. Um, Sorry, it's just not writing is not my best suit, but talking, I can do that all day.
Me
So
too.
being able to talk it into my phone and have it create the LinkedIn post, my words, my thoughts, just organized in a way that I would be struggling to do, or saves me a lot of time in doing it.
Right. And as I like to say, working smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
I'm not a writer either. I mean, I suck at writing, but I'm a talker just like you. So for me, a platform like this allows me to take my words and create other content. I mean, everything from blog posts to newsletters to emails and even things that I can't even think about, right? The
true.
other thing that I think the Cast Magic does that you don't get in any other platform, and it was thinking outside the box. I'd like to think that maybe you were involved with this a little bit, Greg, and that is the ability to have it create stuff that um, you wouldn't even know that you needed, right?
Going back to your comment about running the community, like that's the whole thing. Like you don't know what you don't know. So if I
Right.
can bring people together and go, hey, Karen, what are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
Oh, Sam over here is also trying to do that. And maybe he came up with a prompt that can do it. Like, how do I bring you together and
Wonderful.
build this together? Because otherwise, yeah, you're in a vacuum. You're like, I
Right.
know what I know, and that is a fixed mindset as opposed to how do we create the growth mindset of like rising tide raises all ships. It's same prompt, your words, therefore the outputs are going to be different.
They're going to be different, and you've then now created community once again, and that's what it's about. A lot of these platforms, it's take your show, put it in there, and it's going to give you content. But what if you didn't want to just? What if you don't have a show? What if you need this for something else? Like maybe you have a new client, a possible new client, and you do a sales call. Cast Magic's going to help you with this because what they've done is sort of gotten into our brains and said, you've told us you need this. We're going to build this for you. You've told us you need this. So, literally, right now, for those of you, and we're going to put a link up, you can go try it out. It's free. I mean, it's complimentary. Go try it out and see what it is. If you are a small business owner and you take regular potential client meetings, there's a space in there, a preset in there that literally says, record your show in Zoom, zap it over. That's a whole nother thing. Zap it on over, and it will literally create your pain points, your customer avatar, everything that you need to know to go and make sure that you provide exactly what that client needs. That's groundbreaking. To me, that's groundbreaking because it's again, if you're not good in a particular skill set, right, Greg, you can use this.
It is it is leveling the playing field for a lot, but it's also from whatever age you are, whatever experience you have, this is now going to allow you to take that knowledge, extract more, and do more. As you said, work smarter, not harder.
Right. And so I really encourage people, and again, this is an affiliate link. We always need to say that. If you click on this and you try it out for free, we're going to be thrilled. If you decide you want to use this, I'll get a few pennies. Um, Great. But that's not why I'm doing this. I don't promote anything and I don't tell anybody about things that I don't personally use and don't love. And this I love. Take your cameras out, guys, scan it and just try it out and then let us know. Here's the other thing though. Once you try it out and you love it, you get to go and say, I want to join Greg weekly on these calls that you do. Blaine is there, and you can ask questions. You can say, I really need this. Why aren't you doing this yet? Or how do you do this? Or why are you? Do it, guys. Avail yourself to what's out there. And for those of you who are saying, I can't do technology, I'm either too old, too young, not smart enough, I don't have time, what do you say to them?
Um, It's hard because it's new, but
Mhm.
everything you've ever done that is new, once you've done it, you're like, that wasn't so bad. And
Right.
you kind of look back at it and go like, wow, I accomplished this. Like it was the fear prevented you lean into that discomfort.
So, Greg, what's next for you? I know that you are fully engaged with Castmagic. I know that you work with a lot of different people. What do you want people to know most about you right now so that they can connect with you and create relationship?
Um, I guess find me on LinkedIn. Back to what you were literally saying, like I will train you. So if you do go and sign up for Cast Magic, like I run 3 trainings every week. So not only do we do a weekly one with everyone and my co-founder, but like I do the training. So like you're not alone, and that goes back to the community concept. I'm working on an actual course. So like my background transitioned into the podcast space. So now I've kind of been a podcast consultant and expert. So I ran 3 different podcast and listening platforms, gained a great knowledge. And so I've got a course that's coming out in January that I'll be helping people. And my big thing is stop calling yourself a podcaster and start treating yourself as a brand. And once you start treating yourself as a brand, you then realize you invest in yourself, you invest in tools like a Cast Magic, you start doing things that get you outside of like, I can't do this. It's like, no, if I invest in myself, I
You
will see
can do
the
it.
fruits of those labors.
I love that. Guys, go check this out. Go check out Greg on LinkedIn at Greg Wasserman. Follow him, communicate with him, create a relationship with him, and go check out Cast Magic. We love it, obviously. We love it. Um, Greg, thank you so much for sharing your brilliance with the audience out here. Make sure you check the links down below. We'll have a link to the course down there as well. People can go check that out as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you to everyone who is here. We know you have a choice as to how you spend your time. You chose to spend it with Greg and I, and we are grateful. Go out, give someone an awesome day,